I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am, and then why I care a lot about this topic today and why I know a thing or two about it. You know, if you came to a conference to learn how to lose weight, my talk would be the secret to losing weight is eat broccoli and work out, motherfuckers. Right? That would be it. It would be like the shit you already know deep down in your heart, but you just don't want to do it. Right? The type of things we don't want to do, but we know they're really important to do. We're going to talk about alignment as one of the biggest killers to your growth, misalignment that is, and how to gain alignment between marketing, sales, and success. Before I get started, and I tell you a little bit about myself, show of hands, who here is a founder of a startup or a company? Raise your hand. Awesome. Who here is a consultant, runs a marketing agency, is a service provider in the marketing world-ish? All right, cool, thank you. And then who here works in marketing in a department or company? All right, most of you people. All right, cool, thank you for the show of hands. So I'm gonna try to cater and make this very relevant to you guys. All right, so a little bit about myself first. My name's Steli Afti. I'm originally from Greece. I grew up in Germany. If you know anything about Europe, this is the two polar opposite ends of the cultural spectrum of Europe, all combined in one human being. And I've moved to the Valley 10 years ago to start my first startup. And I have failed miserably many, many times. But I've never had a real job in any capacity. I've been a serial entrepreneur, which means I'm totally unemployable since I've been 17 years old. And most of the things that I've been doing could be categorized as marketing, sales, or success, right? So the latest company that I'm running is a company called Close.io. We are an inside sales tool. We help people that sell through the phone, email, to sell more and sell more efficiently, more successfully. So we're a modern inside sales CRM. And we've been able to compete in the most competitive category of SaaS software today, which is CRM, very, very successfully with the tiniest team in the space, right? So we are, we started this year with 8 people. We're now 20. But we're 20 people. Our nearest smallest competitor is 10x larger in terms of headcount. They're 200 and something people. And we're similar in revenue. So we've been able to build a multi-million-dollar, high-growth ARR SaaS company with a tiny little team. And one of our secrets to success is that we're highly aligned, and we really care about alignment between every single person in the company. If you get high alignment, you remove all friction, you move a lot fucking faster than large groups of people that go back and forth and run into each other all day long, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we are hiring. If you know somebody who's amazing, who would never want to work for me, please send me an email and introduce me to that person. All right, so who knows Hiten Shah? Raise your hand, be proud. What? Not more people? All right, that's good, that's awesome. I should have recorded this part. So Hiten gave a keynote here last year, I think. Heten's partner and co-founder, Neil Patel, gave a talk today, right? You know who Neil Patel is? I like this. Yes, give me strong signals, strong feedback. Yes, no, I don't know what the fuck you want. I'm trying to buy some, Christmas presents on eBay. Don't scream so loud. So I have a podcast with Hiten Shah. Hiten is a brilliant growth marketer, a brilliant marketing mind, a SaaS founder. He's amazing. He's truly amazing. He's both the looks and the smarts of this podcast. And we have a podcast together. It's called The Startup Chat. If you go to thestartupchat.com, you'll find our episodes. You're going to be able to subscribe. This is the reason why I was invited to this. So originally, we were invited to do a live Q&A session of the podcast on stage. We've done that at the Lean Startup Conference, at a bunch of conferences around the world. People seem to like it. We publish 2 episodes a week, Tuesday and Thursdays, each 20 minutes. Tuesdays is very tactical, usually how to set up a landing page, how to do cold calls if you're a marketing person, all kinds of fun stuff like that. Fridays, we talk about whatever the fuck we want, like out there stuff, how the death of our parents affected us as founders, religion in startups, anything we find interesting and curious. A lot of people around the world seem to enjoy it, so check it out. And Hiten, if you don't know him yet, you should really research him. He's amazing. He's amazing. All right. I don't just launch companies and podcasts, I also launch cute blonde boys. To be honest, my wife is more of the technical co-founder in this relationship. I'm more of the support/biz dev guy. But these are my 2 boys, and there's no reason to include them here other than showing off, and I love them. All right, so with that being said, let's get to the actual content of this, all right? So growth is hard. Growth is hard at every fucking stage, let's be honest. Growth is hard in the beginning for different reasons than why growth becomes harder over time. But what is true is if you're succeeding to launch something and grow it in the early days, it is not going to get easier. It is only going to get harder. We're going to talk about why. In the beginning, when you just start a product, a company, whatever it is, a project, it's basically everything is usually combined in one individual or a few individuals, right? You're doing marketing, sales, support, and a bunch of other roles all combined in one person. That's why alignment is usually not a big issue, right? And also the numbers are small, right? Going from 0 to 1, it's hard in function, but it's also just one person, and then going from 1 to 10xing is a matter of 9 people or 9 customers. But once you're at 10,000 customers, right, getting the same percentage growth just is insanely hard over time. So at the beginning, you do everything, or a small group of people does everything, and marketing and sales is kind of the same function. Once you get a little bit of success, it breaks out into 2 groups, right? Now we have somebody doing marketing and somebody doing sales. And we start splitting responsibilities, right? Marketing now is responsible for branding and traffic and email lists and leads, ultimately leads, right? We're generating leads. And then sales, the salespeople, they are ultimately responsible to turn that interest, those eyeballs, those leads, and convert them into revenue, right? That's how we split responsibilities. And that works well. We split it up. Marketing is doing a bit more marketing, so it seems to be succeeding. Now it's not just one person doing everything. Now we have 3 people doing marketing, so we do more marketing. It looks like a great thing. Then we have 2 people doing sales. They are able to drive more revenue. Things are really awesome, right? And this is like month whatever, 3, 6, 9, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden we realize, oh shit, people start churning, right? Just attracting them to our site, getting their email, and then calling them and getting their credit card information there are many steps in the journey, but it's not the end. Shit, all these people leave us. And then all of a sudden, churn and success becomes a really high priority, right? You know how many times I heard people tell me, churn is not an issue in our company? I was like, oh, how long has your product been around? 3 months? Yeah, sure, all right, cool story. So what happens then? Then we add the 3rd group to this, right? We say, oh, we need a success team, because these people are going to be both responsible for retention and expansion, right? We need somebody to fix the problem that we have a really leaky funnel and people come and give us money, but then they fucking leave again, right? And that is very expensive, and it creates all kinds of issues. The problem is now we have 3 different teams. And these teams, they think about themselves in very specific ways, very isolated ways. They're very loosely related. Like imagine those are 3 different sports teams that all are either in the same city or let's say the same university, right? So marketing is the basketball team at Stanford, sales is the football team, and success is whatever, the tennis team. I don't even know how many teams. I've never went to school, how many teams Stanford has, but 3 different sports teams. They're all associated loosely because they're all Stanford sports teams, but they're all their own teams. And team marketing cares about traffic and branding and leads and all that shit. And that's what they're trying to accomplish. And sales, they care about bookings and closing large deals and bringing in new revenue. And success cares about churn number, reducing churn number. Each of these teams have different kind of mission. They're all loosely related. They're all associated. But the marketing team is the marketing team. The sales team is the sales team. And the success team is the success team. And here's where things start to get really rough. Because these 3 groups look at themselves as 3 separate teams with 3 separate missions that are somewhat related, we start getting misalignment. There's actually an episode of the Startup Chat, episode 73, if you're interested in this. There's a discussion between Heaton and I for 20 minutes about alignment being one of the most powerful concepts to fixing anything that's broken within interpersonal group relationships. Whenever people come together to accomplish something, whenever that something becomes harder and harder to accomplish, there's misalignment, right? And it's a beautiful concept to use. Instead of telling somebody, I disagree with you, say, I'm not sure we're aligned on this, right? It's very different. Misalignment means there's 2 objects that have a relationship with each other that are not in the correct setting of relationship to each other. It's not, I am right, and you just haven't figured it out yet, right? When I say I disagree with you, it implies I am right, I think I'm right, and I think you're wrong. If I say we're misaligned, we don't judge who is who, we just know we don't know that we know we're not on the same page trying to do the same thing. So marketing, sales, and success starts being misaligned. And then what kind of problems start coming up? Well, here's some of the misalignment bullshit that are some early symptoms of this. And this is both in success, quote unquote, and in failure. Marketing does some new campaign and they're like, boom, traffic is exploding. This campaign was a huge success. Have you ever heard this or said this yourself? Yes, you could either nod, hands up. I was not clear in my call to action, right? I was like, either say something, move your body in one or the other direction. You all looked at me like, what the fuck are we supposed to do here? Let's try it again. Have you ever done a campaign and you had a lot of traffic or a lot of emails and you were like, yes, marketing crushed it? Raise your hand. Thank you very much. I'm trying to learn on the job here. So, but then when you actually, if somebody tells me this and I challenge them, I go, oh, what? You did this big campaign and all this traffic? Cool, how much of that traffic converted into signups? Well, less than our usual traffic, but still a good amount. Cool. Now, out of that amount, did you look at the quality of those trials? Do we have any data on how many of those have a chance to truly converting into a customer? Well, I don't fucking know is the real answer. And I don't care because all I cared was to drive traffic. That was my metric. All I cared about was capturing as many emails as possible. That was my metric for success. That's all I cared about. So marketing is like, wow, traffic is exploding. We captured 1 million leads, whatever. I had a founder yesterday tell me, we just launched and we already had, the last 3 months, 1 million downloads on the iTunes store, right, a mobile app. I'm like, awesome. How many active users did you have today? And the look on the face, it's like, motherfucker, why are you ruining this? Why do you have to do this? We both know the answer is not what I want to talk about with you. Can't we just focus on the million? I said 1 million. Isn't that amazing? Can we just, why do you have to ruin everything? Right? We can all relate to this, right? I do this myself. I come in, I'm like, this is what we've done. And then somebody's like, well, but what does it really mean? And how is this really helping? I'm like, Jesus, why is everybody difficult on this planet? All right, so this is marketing bullshit. Sales bullshit is like, oh, we crushed it this quarter. You know how magical this is? Every year has the same, like every month has more or less, same amount of days every quarter. But the last quarter is always the quarter where things are being crushed in sales. Why is the fucking last quarter the quarter that should be the worst fucking quarter? Like all the holidays and Thanksgiving and this. Why is that the quarter where sales is magically boom? 60% of the revenue this year was made in those 3 months. Why? Right? Oh, we crushed it with new bookings. Who the fuck cares? How many of these real new bookings will turn into real revenue? How much of that real revenue will be retained or expanded revenue over time? I don't know. I don't fucking care. That's not what I'm being paid for, and that's not what I'm gonna buy my, Breitling watch or whatever with. Like, why are you bothering me with things that are not my problem? And then success is like, oh, churn is down. We just hired 2 success people, Sally, I hear this. And the last 6 months, we brought down churn by blah percent, but whatever, 50%. I'm like, oh, really? I had this conversation with a CEO of a SaaS company that has millions in revenue. And then it was, wow, 50%, it seems quite a lot in 6 months. What kind of churn are we talking about? And the founder looked at me and was like, well, churn, what do you mean? I'm like, well, are we talking customer churn, revenue churn, seat churn? What exact churn are we talking about? Yeah, see what? You could actually have customers that pay you more money, but less and less people in the company use them, right? You had 1,000 people in that company use you. Now you have 10 people in the company use you, right? And she was like, well, that's a great question, which is usually I don't have the answer, but I'm buying time. It's a great question, Stelly, and I don't know. I get a monthly report, and it just shows me the churn numbers. And also, by the way, how did they bring down churn? Well, we did a lot more upselling, and we did a lot of annual and biannual contracts. We did a bunch of bullshit that's not reducing churn. Like, it's just reducing the way we calculate the number, right? It is changing the way we look at the number, right? And is this also, when people talk about churn, is it gross or net? I don't know. Well, if you don't know, then you don't know if churn is down, right? And most of the times, again, and this is, I'm shitting on all of us, right? We're all just on humanity to a certain degree. Like, we're all just like, if you give me this as a goal, I'll do whatever the fuck I can to get that goal accomplished. And then I'm going to be like, wow, I'm crushing it. We're crushing it here in our team, right? So this is when, and I don't have a timer here. This is a bad idea when I'm on stage when you don't give me a timer. It's a dangerous thing. Somebody should be shouting out times at some point or like hurry up or something. All right. I should have been more specific on who. Somebody with authority, company organizers, the DJ. All right, sorry. So this is, how many do I have? 8 minutes, oh shit. Oh, that's fine, okay. So the clicker doesn't work though. So all right, so imagine the next slide. Just close your eyes. Because I kind of loosely know what it says, but I can't make if you guys back there could just hit the next slide, I'd be happy. So there's 3 more examples for bullshit. Thank you, people. So here's when things go wrong, right? I told you about the bullshit success that we claim. Here's the bullshit failure we're claiming. Marketing is like, well, we're not hitting our numbers because sales cannot close shit. And then success is like, well, churn is up because sales is closing too much shit. Right? They're not closing the right deals. They're closing all these bad deals. They're making all these bad promises. And then sales is like, well, the leads suck. Have you ever heard this? Raise your hand if you ever heard sales saying the leads suck. Well, the leads suck. That's the problem. If we got better leads, we would have better deals. Right? This is the blame game. Like I'm pointing at you are the problem, you're pointing at me, you're the problem. And now what happens a lot of times, these teams, we will come up with all these schemas to prove that we are right and they're wrong and to protect our team versus your team. So we have things like the thing that always surprises me, marketing qualified leads, MQLs versus SQLs, sales qualified leads. Think about it for a second. We as a company define who is a qualified customer, who should buy the product, who could truly get value from the product. We create some criteria. And then we say that these criteria are different for the type of marketing we want to do and the type of people we attract in marketing versus the type of people we want to close on sales. How does that make any sense? It doesn't. It's just when sales says the leads suck, marketing says, I'll show you motherfuckers. We'll come up with some kind of way to say that these are qualified leads for marketing. Boom, and then MQLs are born as a concept. And then sales goes, whoa, wait a second. We have our own fucking criteria. And then boom, SQLs are born. And now we're fighting MQLs with SQLs, and soon success is going to come up with customer or whatever, success qualified customers, SQCs, and then we're all fucked, right? Like there's only one qualification criteria. Can this be a successful customer, yes or no? And that applies to everybody, marketing, sales, and success. To everybody. How good product couldn't be like we're building products for people that are this type of people, and then marketing's like, well, we make marketing for these type of people, and then sales says, well, we sell to these type of people. Does that sound like a good idea? No, right? This is no. There you go. This is yes. I like the idea. This is how we do it, and it works. And this is like, leave me alone. All right. So these are the type of things, the symptoms that you have misalignment on the team. Right? If you're just one person, you do everything, you might have, even in that case, rarely, sometimes there's misalignment because somebody has multiple personalities, right? Or conflicts, we haven't made priorities, we haven't decided what do we really care about most. The only 2 questions that truly matter, the only growth that truly matters is growing successful customers. So the 2 questions that we ask ourselves every single day, everybody at my company is, how can we make our customers more successful, and how can we acquire more successful customers? And there's a big difference between success and happy. This is another confusion we have in life. We think we're looking for customer growth. No. We're thinking we're looking for customer happiness. No. We're looking for customer success. I don't care about happiness. Right? Not personally. I think personally you should chase happiness more than success. Right? But in business, I care about success and success only. Because happiness could look like something like this. You have some kind of a early adopter geeky dude that always likes the newest tools, saw you on some article, signed up, was one of the first users, we're talking to your founders, and just loves your fucking product, loves fucking around with it, loves using it, and all the feedback that person gives you, that buyer within the company is like, I fucking love this. I have the t-shirts on every day from you. You know, I retweet all your articles on Twitter. I love you. And you're like, oh my God, this customer loves us. How many times do I hear this? Salespeople, marketing people, success people, this customer loves us. They're so happy with us. Who gives a shit if that person leaves and somebody comes in and assumes their position and that person doesn't care about you, doesn't give a fuck about you, and wants in a few minutes to do some back of the napkin math, should we keep paying for this shit or not? And assume that person has a bias against paying for a tool like yours. Can that person do the math and go, oh shit, yeah, let's keep paying for this? That's when you have a successful customer. A successful customer is somebody that receives more value from your product than they pay you, and, this is important, they realize it. They know it. There are companies that struggle with that point. They have the metrics to say that we give more value than we take, but shit, none of our customers understand this or know it. Then you're fucked as well. They're not successful. They need to realize it, right? And everything we do as marketing, as sales, and as success is trying to grow the number of successful customers we have. There's only one team. If you look at these three groups, they're not three separate teams. It's not like the basketball team, the football team, and the ballet team. These three groups are one fucking team. Marketing, might be offense, sales is middle field, and success is fucking defense, right? But we're the same, we have different functions, but we're one fucking team. There's no, the offense lost the game, but the defense won the game. That's not how we break down game. We're not like, well, the Warriors against the LA Lakers. Defense won against defense Lakers. Offense, that's not how we fucking think about this. The team either won or they lost. You might have done your part. But if you've done your part and somebody else didn't, it's partially your responsibility to help them do their part or find people to help them do their part. You can't just be like, well, I'm successful. I don't really care. I'm going to win the championship in my mind in defense this year. Like, that's not how this fucking shit works. And it's the same thing for a company. You cannot be winning in marketing if sales is losing in the same company. You can't be winning in marketing if churn is really high. You can't. It doesn't matter how much traffic you drive, how many social retweets you get. All that is irrelevant. All of you work together to grow the number of successful customers. If you know that marketing and sales can work together to figure out what kind of leads can sales convert to successful customers, how do we make sure that sales doesn't close customers that shouldn't be closed? How can we make sure marketing doesn't do things that drive a lot of metrics and a lot of volume and a lot of activity, but don't convert into real, sustainable, long-term customers? For success, how can we make sure that all the data, all the things they know about our customers go back in feedback loops to sales and marketing? There's so much marketing material that success is looking at, all these case studies, all these challenges, content that could be written about, problems that people have, changes in the market. They are the closest to the customer. But if they're closest to the customer, they have nothing to do with fucking marketing, then all the insights they have stay unused. And that's going to kill your growth. There's insights here that need to be shared as one team. You need to think about it culturally that way, and then you're going to be able to really accelerate growth for the long term. A few other tips to round this up. So as I said, as the entire company, marketing, sales, and success, as the entire teams need to culturally understand that they're all playing on the same team, the leadership in these teams need to understand that, and even practically, they need to practice this. So a lot of times what happens is there's a head of marketing, head of sales, head of support. And the way they think about it in another dimension is they think about their team as their team. The marketing people are my team. And the salesperson, the salespeople are my salespeople, right? And so there's three different coaches with three different teams, right? But the real team is you take the head of marketing, the head of sales, the head of success. Those three people, they are a team. They're the number one team they have. They need to work together and win. That's the number one team. The number two team is then I'm trying to help the people that work under me. But that's not my first priority. My first priority is to work with these other two head departments so that the three of us form an aligned unity that accomplishes things. Pods versus assembly lines. There's a lot of ways to organize teams. Today, a lot of what we still see is the assembly line model. You have a big team of specialists in one department, and a big team of specialists in another department, and we kind of throw the ball from one department to the other, right? That's the assembly line model. 1 minute? All right. Thanks. Instead of doing that, one new model, and every model has pros and cons, but one new model that really helps with alignment is the pod model. So instead of having a, let's say, lead generation team, a sales team, and then a success team, you form groups, pods. You have 2 lead gen people, you have 2 sales people, and you have 2 success people, and they form one pod, and they own the entire relationship, the entire customer journey from A to Z, right? Now, that way, we are one team acquiring customer, and as I'm getting them through the door and you're closing them and you're successing them, I'm not losing sight of this because we have to compete with another pod, right? And we need to generate more successful customers, more revenue over the long term that's sustained and expanded on, and not just I generated lots of leads, right? And that's my job, that's the end of it, and I compete with other people that generate leads. You want to increase empathy between different departments, marketing, sales, success, engineering. A way to do that is to really put yourself in other people's shoes. So what we do is, once in a while, we have engineers do sales calls and qualify leads. A day where every day that an engineer has to do a few sales calls, they always end the call with, oh my God, I would kill myself if I had to do this all day long. And they instantly get a lot nicer to the salespeople. Right? Instantly. It's instant. And they also instantly have a lot of ideas of like, this sucked that I had to do, this workflow sucked, why are we doing this thing, it's stupid, and they find solutions to problems. Salespeople, instead of just being like, why does product not build faster, why is this not there, that not there, you do a workshop, we did a workshop at the last retreat, where salespeople actually have to find a small bug, figure out if it's replicatable, and then describe and spec it out and help the engineer fix it, and they have to stay with them. And by the end, the salespeople are like, I would kill myself if I had to do this. And they now understand that they can't just say, it doesn't work on my laptop. Okay, can you make it not work again? No. Well, then I can't fix it. How am I supposed to fix this, right? So you do workshops, you do trainings, you shadow people, you try to make people understand each other a little bit better. And then the last thing that I'll say, and I'll wrap it up, is having long-term KPIs. So one example of this is let's say you have a churn problem, and you identify that a lot of the deals we're closing in sales are churning because they should have never been closed, right? Let's say that's a real problem that we identify. And let's say we do all the cultural things. We try to get every team on the same page. We try to really align them and make them understand why they're on the same team and all that good stuff. One thing that we could do is to say, instead of having the salesperson only own the quota they close and some success person owning churn, what we'll do is the primary KPI that you're responsible for, salesperson, is your net new revenue that you bring in. But there's a secondary KPI, and that is what is the rate of churn or expansion of the revenue you bring in as a cohort. And we track this over long periods of time. Every quarter we look at that and we benchmark you with other people. So we're not just looking, are you bringing more revenue than everybody else, but is your revenue better quality revenue than everybody else's or worse? And we give you feedback on both things. We could even compensate you on both these things, right? And it's not going to be a 50-50. Maybe just to keep sales aggressive, if you need aggressive sales, you do it an 80-20 or 70-30. If you need something that's really balanced, you could do a 50-50, right? Some companies that are totally unaggressive and they want salespeople that are more solution-driven and very slow in terms of the conversion, you might flip it and pay them more on the retention of the revenue they bring in than on the new revenue they bring in immediately. But having these secondary KPIs and not just saying, I generated a lead and that's all I was responsible for. Well, let's keep track of the lead you generated and see, does it churn once it converts to customers at a higher rate than other people? Because maybe the channel you're working on and that you figure it out on a marketing side is a shitty channel for us. It's a great channel because it's so large and it generates lots of leads, but it's a shitty channel because these people should never buy our product today, right? So, again, this is not some new hack or trick or tactic. This is basic human things, like us all wanting to, be successful, to form a little group and be like, protect each other. It's all about generating fast wins. We just want to show that this worked right now and that it's good and the work we do is really, really valuable. We don't want to have ownership over everything that is happening. But if you are able to culturally shift the way you look at things and take ownership and work as one team and really align marketing, sales, and success, you really, truly have a winning growth formula. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.